Hi. Today I'd like to talk a little bit about water filtration and what I'm doing in my limited half-acre property to make sure that I have pure water for drinking. You look at the reports coming out of Flint, Michigan, where they have a high concentration of lead in the drinking water, which is a toxin and poison for people. And at this point, I really just don't trust what people are saying. You know, you can have things spilling over into waterways where people are getting their water, and I just wanted to have a process or a way to make sure I'm drinking the cleanest possible water that I can. So I'll look at this bottle. If I had two of these bottles next to each other, one with tap water and one with purified, strained, whatever you want to call it, rainwater, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference, obviously. The only difference to me is I know what's in this. I don't know what's in my tap water. You know, again, there could be mercury, lead, there could be any, who knows what could be in there, you know, any heavy metals and things like that that I certainly don't want in my body. But I know what I'm getting with this type of water. I know this water's fresh. Not that it doesn't have a shelf life. You know, I've got water, and again, I'm going to be testing these waters just to see, you know, if there's any bacteria and things like that in it. So to me, this is the way I want to go. This is the way I will go. Hopefully this helps you. So what I decided on is capturing rainwater and storing it in a tote. This is, I think, a 330-gallon tote that had quick chlor, 12%, 12.5%, which is basically chlorine. They looked at some of the other totes and it had some chemicals that nothing that I would drink. So this to me would be potable water with some filtration, and I'm going to go through the filtration process of it. So what I start with is rainwater coming in from the roof that's got all kind of impurities and things like that in it. So you want to make sure that you're doing lots and lots of filtration. You know, there's animal droppings, there's you know, who knows what all is in there. So we'll start with that. I guess I should have started with a disclaimer. Make sure that you are permitted, or the government permits you, to capture rainwater, which to me is just a complete farce how anyone can stop you from collecting rainwater. To me, if they're telling you that you're not allowed to collect it, then they own it. If they own it, then to me, anybody who has any home damage due to any type of rain should be suing their local governments and primarying these people. But just make sure that this is something you're allowed to do. Again, I'm not condoning it. You do what you need to. Just make sure you're following your local laws. One more thing on these totes. You know, the totes are pretty full. I was concerned over the winter. This was the first winter that I had these. I was concerned that if I leave these full, since I'm in a colder climate where we have a couple months of below, maybe not below zero, but freezing temperatures. Again, try to keep it in the sun so that it gets some some heat. But I drained it 3/4. I drained it 2 3/4. So I think down to about here. And there's enough give in there that I didn't have any issues, didn't have any leaks. I did wrap the spigot on the other side. I don't know that you need to do that. I've talked to some people, they just say leave it. I mean, I'm not going to put antifreeze, I'm not going to put alcohol, I'm not going to put anything else in here. If this would burst and it wouldn't hold water anymore, then it would be an absolute perfect greenhouse, for growing, getting the plant started and things like that. So there's another way to repurpose this once it's done. So here's one of the 5-gallon buckets. Maybe this is a 3-gallon bucket. This is a food grade bucket. You can see the water looks pretty clear, but there's some nasty stuff down at the bottom. That's just what you're going to get from the rain system. And if you look down through there, you can see some stuff in solution. So this is the raw water that I have. I actually have two of these totes. One of the totes is for potable water, the other tote is for non-potable. So I could be using something to flush a toilet, or just basically wash things, the garden and things like that. But once, and that's I think that's at 270. So around five or some 100 gallons of water for long-term storage. For short-term storage, this is what I would recommend someone doing. So you just get a couple 5-gallon buckets, food grade buckets. Make sure that you clean them out. You put your water in here. I normally would let mine, I say run like it's a faucet, but for me it is. I'll let it rain, or can't stop the rain obviously, but it'll rain for maybe 20 minutes, and after a lot of the impurities and things, the pine needles, leaves, bird droppings and things like that have gotten out, you'll pretty much get clear water like this coming out of it with a little bit. Then I let it sit for 3 or 4 days, and pretty much everything will drop down to the bottom of the bucket like we have here. So in order to fill the tote, there's 2 ways to do this. There's 2 parts. There's long-term storage, which to me is the tote, and then there's the short-term storage. You can see some garbage on top of there. I'll go ahead and, just as a rough capture, I'll go ahead and use that filtration system, pour the water in, and again, let that sit. I try not to put too much chlorine in here. The sun will purify this, solar radiation, and a lot of stuff will drop to the bottom. And what I'm trying to work on next is hooking some sort of a pull pump up to this where I can filtrate the water. But again, this is more of emergency water. All right, so the first filtration was just through a towel, just to get any of the, any of the real easy debris that you can see out. And the second thing is 2 5-gallons. I guess these may be 4 gallons, 5 gallons, doesn't really matter. These buckets are next with a ceramic filter. So what I ended up on was this Dalton ceramic water filter candle for pure water. They say it's pure water, but I don't think anything's pure. 99% efficient. This is a 1/2 micron, so that's really what I was looking for. There's instructions and things that tells you how to do this. But basically you drill a hole in a top bucket. I'm not going to show you how to do that. I'm sure you're smart enough to do that. Drop a hole in drill a hole in the top lid, and then the water basically just drops down. And I think I get with this 5 gallons in 2 days or something. So I always have 10 gallons of water. I'm always processing water through here. So the method is just dump the pure cleaner water in, and you can see what's in there. There's even a little bit of dirt down at the bottom of this, but again, this is I think they say you can clean this up to 10 times. I've had this for 6 or 8 months. I've cleaned it 3 or 4 times. And maybe at some point I'll throw some chlorine or something, or some vinegar on it to clean it. But you can just hear this thing dripping water up to here. I think last night, halfway down, and this is probably halfway filled. So that's I guess the second, probably the best of the filtrations. I mean, that'll take out any of this. You can look through these things. Cleans out bacteria, cysts, and particles, and things like that. So I mean, this is probably good to drink, and I have actually drank from this before. Again, I've decided to get off of local city water. I just don't trust the fluorides and things that they have in it, so don't really miss any of it. Water tastes pure. So that's the first filtration. And again, this is the major filtration. So for me, you could actually just finish up and drink from this. So here's the next level of filtration. I guess before I get to this one, I've had that filter sitting at the house for probably 5 or 6 years. I think it was $20 or $30. It's really the only component that I paid for out of this whole system. Just never used it. And then one of these days I decided, I think it was 3 months ago, I decided it's time to try this. I want to make sure that this stuff works. If you're doing any type of prepping or homesteading, you don't want to wait until the event actually happens before you need to use it. So I wanted to see, if I was going to get sick, now's the time to do it, instead of whenever there's sort of a water shortage, or when you can't get to the stores. So anyway, the next step was a 1 gallon. I decided on glass. I guess you could use whatever you want. I put a piece of paper towel over it and clip it so no animals or anything like that can get in. And that solar radiation kills what I would think anything else that's in there. I'll let that sit out in the sun for a day or two. And worst case, you could let it sit out for 1 day in the sun. I guess you get to a certain temperature, certain radiation level, certain amount of sunlight is what's going to kill any bacteria in there. So that's the next level of filtration. All right, so after the candle 1/2 micron cleaning of purification of water, filtering of water, then I just move over to one of these, whatever you want to say, Brita type filters, any of the activated charcoal type filters. So after I'm done, I'll put about 10 drops of unscented chlorine in there and just let that sit overnight. So by the morning, any chlorine that's in there will dissipate, but it's enough to kill any other bacteria. And from that point, once I'm done with all those filtrations, then it's basically just turning on the tap and you can have water. So I will actually fill up my water bottles, whether I keep them in the fridge or just drink them. I tend to just drink them dry. It's nice and cool inside right now. So that's what I have. Again, there's a lot of different options to do this. Don't take my word for it. Don't wait until you need water before you're doing something like this. These filtration systems, you can try paper filtration systems. I think 1/2 micron is good. I may be going way overkill on it, but I haven't had any issues. Again, I've been doing this for the last 3 months. Don't really feel any difference between the fluoride and the city water and this water, but I know it's better for you, just drinking pure rainwater. And I know the filtration systems that I'm doing, that's going to catch pretty much. I'm confident that it's going to catch any of the bacteria. Again, I haven't been sick. I haven't shown any signs of anything. So if you have any questions, have any comments, leave them in. If not, give it a try. Thanks for watching.